Will's new power could make him more dangerous than Vecna himself. The final moments of Sorcerer dropped a bombshell that changed the entire landscape of the story. Fans barely had time to process it before Reddit was already zooming in frame by frame. Fans believe Will Byers can now command Demogorgons with his mind, turning the creatures that once hunted him into weapons he can direct. Because apparently being kidnapped, possessed, and traumatized was not enough character development. The expectation is that Volume 2 opens with Will, training this ability in secret, likely with Mike as his only confidant since he is the only witness to what happened. Viewers picture Will standing completely still, with his eyes closed, while a pack of Demogorgons circles around him in perfect formation. Their movements match his thoughts like a twisted ballet of teeth and claws. It is the kind of visual that would send the fandom into chaos because it reverses the entire power dynamic. The victim becomes the commander, and the prey becomes the predator. But here is where the theory becomes genuinely frightening. What if every time Will taps into this ability, he slips deeper into the psychic network that Vecna built and still controls? That would mean the line between commanding the monsters and becoming one grows thinner with every order he gives. Vecna did not cultivate this connection for years just to hand Will a weapon. He was grooming a replacement. Now Will might be walking that same path every time he uses these abilities. Joyce would break if she learned her son was wielding powers linked to the creature that has destroyed their lives. This is why fans think Will hides the truth, while Mike struggles with being the only person who knows his best friend might be slowly turning into the next Henry Creel. Will's powers aren't a curse, but the final key the entire story has been secretly building toward. Now here is the twist that flips the theory inside out. What if everything we thought we knew about Stranger Things has been wrong since the beginning? The idea is that Will's powers were never a curse. They were the final key the entire narrative has been building toward. Fans imagine Volume 2 opening with Will realizing that his strange sensations, visions, and lingering connection to the Upside Down were not leftovers from trauma. They were the awakening of abilities that mirror Vecna's power, but turned inward towards something good. With Kaylee returning and 11 already in the fight, the belief is that none of them can win alone. The wild twist fans love is that the three of them combine their abilities in a moment that mirrors Erica's iconic 20 scene from Season 4. 11 is number 11. Kali is number 8. Will is the original one connection to Vecna. Together they form a symbolic 20 that might be the exact combination needed to defeat Vecna forever. Trust the fandom to solve the apocalypse with basic math. The tension spikes when fans realize Will might only be able to channel this power because part of Vecna is still lodged inside him, which means using it could destroy Vecna, save Hawkins, and end Will at the same time. Unless the real twist is that Will survives anyway and breaks the cycle, leading to an ending that is explosive, unpredictable, and capable of shaking the entire fandom. Dr. K isn't studying the Upside Down, she's weaponizing children to fight dimensional wars. There is another theory that almost no one is talking about, and it paints the government in a far darker light than any creature in the Upside Down. Dr. K is not studying the Upside Down. Fans believe she is weaponizing children to fight dimensional wars. Seeing 8 strapped into that nightmare machine at the military base was not just shocking, it suggested that the government learned the worst possible lessons from Brenner's program and chose to perfect his methods instead of abandoning them, because apparently copying the villain was the option they went with. According to this theory, Kay is not hunting 11 to neutralize a threat. She wants to capture the most powerful psychic weapon ever created and force her into a program that is already pushing other numbered children past their limits. The idea is that the government is building an army of traumatized kids to throw at interdimensional threats while justifying it with the phrase national security. The parallel to Brenner is so deliberate that viewers feel sick thinking about it. It shows how cruelty inside institutions does not disappear when the villain dies. It simply gets rebranded and funded by a different department that follows the same playbook. Nothing spreads faster than bad government ideas. This creates the kind of dilemma that could tear Hopper and 11 apart. Do they spend precious time and resources rescuing Kaylee and the other imprisoned children? Or do they stay focused on Vecna, knowing that every moment they delay allows more children to suffer the same treatment 11 barely survived? Hopper's entire story is rooted in protecting kids because he could not save Sarah, which means he would want to break into the base and free every prisoner even if it jeopardizes the mission. 11 might take the colder strategic view that they must defeat Vecna first because if they lose that battle, everyone in Kay's facility dies along with the rest of the world. It creates a moral problem with no clean answer and guarantees emotional fallout for whoever makes the final call. Max discovered the memory that created Vecna, and it could be the key to destroying him. Fans went wild when they saw the fear in Vecna's face as he entered that cave, following the trail Max left behind. She has been surviving inside Henry Creel's mind for months, digging through memories he buried or forgot while staying one step ahead of his awareness. Fans think she uncovered something enormous. Max never finds the small problems, only the catastrophic ones. The theory says Max has found the exact moment young Henry first touched the Upside Down and began his transformation from troubled child into dimensional monster. That single memory could hold crucial information about how his connection formed, possibly revealing a way to sever or even reverse it. According to fans, Volume 2 might show Max using Holly as a messenger, passing information to the party through the only other person trapped in Vecna's realm who has not been consumed. The emotional impact comes from imagining Max alone in someone else's memories for so long that she is beginning to lose track of her own. She clings to fragments of her identity, Lucas, her friends, her skateboard, that Kate Bush song, while surrounded by Henry's trauma and rage. Lucas has no idea she is still conscious and still fighting, which means when he learns the truth through whatever psychic connection Holly establishes, it will be heartbreaking. They cannot touch or hold each other and can only reach across an impossible distance, knowing Max might never escape the prison inside Vecna's mind, even if the group defeats him physically. Which is impressive considering nobody in Hawkins ever gets a break. By the way, if you love Stranger Things, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe. It helps more than you know. Vecna's planning to turn every kidnapped child into a gate, cracking reality in dozens of places at once. And Max is not the only one trapped in impossible circumstances. Many other children are about to become living doorways. Vecna is planning to turn every kidnapped child into a gate, cracking reality in dozens of places at once. 4 deaths created 4 gates in Season 4, but if Vecna wants 12 children this time, that means he is not repeating his strategy. He is escalating it to an apocalyptic level. Vecna does not do subtle. Fans believe he will activate them all at once, transforming each child into a living gateway suspended between life and death while reality splinters around them like shattered glass. The Upside Down would not slowly bleed into Hawkins. It would erupt across entire states faster than any containment effort could respond. This makes the children who escaped with Murray incredibly important. They are the only test subjects the party has access to, and the only chance to understand how Vecna's marking process works before he triggers the mass activation. Murray unexpectedly becoming crucial to the plot was not on anyone's bingo card. Anyone protecting those children carries the weight of possibly saving countless lives if they manage to break the psychic code. But there is also the horrifying possibility that the group will not figure it out in time and will have to watch as Vecna turns dozens of kids into dimensional wounds that cannot be closed. Working with Dr. K might be the only way to save the children, and it could cost Eleven her humanity, which brings up an alliance that nobody wants, but everyone might need. The kind of plan that makes fans yell at the screen. Working with Dr. K might be the only way to save the children, and it could cost Eleven her humanity. K represents everything wrong with institutional power. Fans watched how cold and calculating she is, willing to push children past their limits while convincing herself it is necessary. Yet she controls resources the party desperately needs. Military equipment, extensive research into the Upside Down, scientific tools, and most importantly, she has leverage in the form of 8 trapped inside her facility. The theory says Volume 2 forces an uneasy deal where Kay offers her help to rescue Vecna's victims in exchange for Eleven's cooperation with her psychic warfare program. This creates a devil's bargain that splits the group along ideological lines. Hopper would rather die than watch Eleven return to a lab and be treated like a weapon instead of a daughter. And knowing Hopper, that is not an empty threat. But pragmatists like Steve or Dustin might argue that Kay's resources could save lives that will be lost if they try to handle the mission alone. The tension comes from knowing Kay will betray any agreement the moment it benefits her, which means the party has to use her while secretly preparing their own betrayal before she can deliver hers. And if Eleven agrees to temporary cooperation, every moment in that program risks her becoming the very thing Brenner wanted her to be, a weapon who forgets she is also a person. Meanwhile, something even more dangerous is happening on the other side of the battlefield. Hawkins' lab in the Upside Down is ground zero, and reaching it will cost lives. Steve leads a team deep into the dimension with one target in mind, the twisted reflection of Hawkins' lab where Eleven first opened the gate in 1983. Season 5 made it clear that this place is not just symbolic. It is the functional core of any plan to seal the dimensions for good. That lab is the original wound in reality, the exact point where the barrier between worlds first ripped open. Closing that breach could collapse every other gate like pulling a single thread that unravels the entire invasion. It mirrors the strategy that worked for the Russian gate in Season 3. Except this time, the original tier is buried deep in hostile territory and surrounded by everything the Upside Down can throw at anyone who approaches. Vecna understands how important that location is, which means it is almost certainly fortified with creatures, loaded with traps, or possibly serving as his true headquarters. Controlling that space would let him anchor the invasion exactly where it began. Steve's convoy is heading straight into the heart of the storm, and the theory is unanimous that not everyone makes it out. Steve charging into danger is practically tradition at this point. This is where main character plot armor finally breaks, and someone beloved pays the ultimate price. The symmetry would be devastating. The place where the nightmare started becomes the place where heroes sacrifice everything to end it. Every fan watching will feel their soul leave their body. But the most heartbreaking theory involves a choice. 11 has been avoiding since Season 4 ended. 11 might have to take Max's life to end Vecna, a theory nobody wants, yet everyone keeps discussing. Max's consciousness is trapped inside Vecna's mind, like a prisoner locked in a cell with no doors. That creates an impossible problem. Any strike powerful enough to destroy Vecna could destroy Max too, because she is literally woven into his mental architecture. Volume 2 might force 11 to confront the decision she has been running from. Let her best friend die to eliminate the monster, or search for another solution that risks total failure because she cannot sacrifice Max for victory. Max knows Vecna's weakness now, which is that cave, and that information is the only thing keeping the door open. Lucas would be shattered if he learned this choice is coming, which is why the theory imagines a scene where he discovers the truth and begs 11 to save Max no matter what. It could fracture their friendship beyond repair when 11 explains that one life cannot outweigh billions. Mike would support her judgment because he trusts her completely, which is great for strategy, terrible for emotions. That support could create a rift with Lucas, who sees it as Mike not caring enough about Max's life. It forces the party to confront whether loyalty to each other matters more than tactical necessity. But maybe the ending is not centered on that choice at all. Maybe the final twist belongs to the kids nobody is paying enough attention to. The children link their minds and overthrow Vecna from inside his own realm. Vecna sees them as powerless victims, batteries filled with trauma he can drain to fuel the invasion. But taking so many children at once might create a consequence he did not predict. They begin to find each other inside his mindscape and realize they are not alone. For once, a group project in this show might actually succeed. Holly, Derek, and the others start communicating across the psychic space, building a collective consciousness stronger than any of them individually. What Vecna intended as a mass sacrifice becomes a rebellion when the prisoners discover they outnumber the jailer and start rewriting the rules of his realm from within. The parallel to Brenner's program is thematically perfect. Brenner failed because he isolated his subjects and taught them to compete. These kids might succeed because they cooperate and support each other, proving that community beats individual power every time. Something Brenner definitely did not account for. Volume 2 could show the children slowly taking control of Vecna's mind while the party fights on the physical front, creating a two-sided battle where Vecna realizes too late that his chosen victims have become the weapon that destroys him. Fans love this idea because the Duffers always put children at the heart of the story and expect them to win. If this theory comes true, it could be the greatest twist of all. It would let the youngest generation save themselves with guidance from the heroes who have been fighting since 1983. It would pass the torch while proving that even Vecna's preferred prey can become predators when they refuse to be afraid alone. So when Volume 2 finally drops and 8 years of mystery get answers, the real question is simple. Who lives, who dies, and how much will this ending wreck us emotionally? After everything these characters have survived, fans are hoping for a finale that delivers a payoff worth the wait.